everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we are going to learn Class 8 Electricity, ICSC. So let us get started with our video. So I'll just share the screen with you. Okay, electricity. What electricity is? Electricity is a form of energy existing as charges in all atoms, but just a form of energy which is existing in atoms with a positive and negative charges. The word electricity is derived from a Greek word electron. There's one Greek word known as electron. So from this word electron, this electricity has been derived. Electron means amber. But just a thing, I'll just show you the picture of amber. So look at the amber. Okay. This fossil tree resin that has been appreciated for its color and natural beauty since Catholic times, much value for antiquity to present. So this type of something is known as amber. Okay, so this is amber, and this electricity word has been derived from this amber. Okay, so charges. Electron. In an electron or in an atom, there are mainly two charges that are positive and negative charges. We all know about the charges and all. Okay, so positive and negative charge. Static energy. Static energy is a type of energy in which the electrons are not moving at all and they are present above the surface. For example, I'm having this pen and the electrons are above the surface, not inside. And that is not valence electrons, means they're not moving. Okay. So that is known as static electricity. Accumulation of electrical charges on the surface of material. Okay, it is mostly an insulator or insulator, yes, non-conductor. Insulator is something which does not carry electricity with it. For example, plastic pen, mouse, highlighter, and etc. etc. Moving charges constitute electric current. Means the moving charges you can see over here, electrons, they carry electric current with them. Static electricity and atomic structure. So static electricity and atomic structure. So here you can see this is an atom. Already in class 7, we have studied the structure of atom, and I'll be showing you the video of that also later on. So atom consists of nucleus, shell, electron, protons, and neutrons. Okay. So this one middle portion is nucleus. These three are shells. And these are electrons. This is an electron. So electrons are moving, but protons are not moving. Protons never ever move from their position as they are inside the nucleus. Structure of atom. Now, atom is something which is having balanced number of positive and negative charges. It is not like positive is high in amount, after negative is high in amount. No, both balance. For example, if there is plus 10 protons, if there is plus 10 protons and minus 10 electrons and negative, protons are positive, so plus and minus 0, then it will be neutral. Atom is always neutral. It do not contain anything with it. Okay, it is always neutral electron. Okay, this is the main point. Okay, an atom is electrically neutral as it contains equal number of positive and negative charges. Particles which cancel out each other and makes it neutral. Proton Electrons and neutrons are present in the nucleus and are bound by very strong force of attraction. So protons and neutrons are present inside the nucleus. Only protons and neutrons, okay? The electrons are on this or in the shell and are bound by very strong force of attraction. Okay. So this is the nucleus. It attracts all the electrons present in the shell. For example, this middle one is the nucleus. Nucleus, what does it do? It is having positive and neutral charges, protons and neutron charges. So what it will do is it will attract the electrons towards it. It will only attract the electrons which are present nearest to it. For example, here's this is the nucleus. Okay, this is the nucleus, and this is the shell. On this shell, there are various protons and all. Okay, here protons. So this nucleus will attract those electrons, not protons. I'm sorry, electrons. It will attract this electron towards it, but it won't be able to attract this electron because it is a valence electron. Valence is what the electrons which can be knocked off or which can be transferred from one material to the another material. They are free to move. They can move anywhere, and their valence means they are not fixed at place and they're at outside, means farther from the nucleus. Now you will think like atom is such a small unit. How it means how can it not how cannot it attract the valence electron? Of course, it is small, so it will produce small type of energy within itself, right? But that small will be big for it. So according to that, the nucleus will provide energy, and according to that, the electrons will be attracted and not. So in short, I want to see the nucleus will only attract the positive electrons, means nucleus is positive and electrons are negative. So nucleus will only attract electrons towards it, but it won't be able to attract the valence electron because they are very farther, means not very, but they're farther from the nucleus, means farther from the proton. That's why they won't be attracted. Okay. So erase it. Valence shell. Valence electrons can be easily knocked or transferred to another atoms. Yeah, we all know that valence electron can be easily knocked off or transferred to the another atoms. They can break and move freely inside the substance at free electrons. Yeah, they can easily move. Okay. Valence electron can easily move, they can easily be transferred and easily knocked off. Okay. When a substance moves electron, it requires a net negative charge. And when a substance loses electron, it requires a net positive charge. Now, what does it exactly mean? I will tell you guys. For example, this is one object. Okay. Now, this substance will gain electron. How? There are three ways. Either by friction, either by conduction, or either by induction. So what will happen is, this is the material, this is a substance, it will, and this is also one substance or atom we will say. Okay, atom. Okay, atom. Now this atom has some electrons over here, over here, over here. Then this will also have some electrons in it. So what it will do, due to conduction, means when they are touched together, this will attract this towards it. Okay. When they are touched, the electrons will pass. But electrostatic force is induction type, and I'll explain it later. So what will happen? The substance will gain electron. If it gain electron, then here it will get proton, because then as I told you the atom is neutral. Atom neutral होता है. तो अगर उसने उसके पास -10 इलेक्ट्रॉन है और +10 प्रोटॉन है और उसने एक प्रोटॉन दूसरे को दे दिया तो उसके पास -9 प्रोटॉन इलेक्ट्रॉन बचे, राइट. और प्रोटॉन तो 10 ही बचे, तो क्या होगा? अनबैलेंस होगा, राइट. तो इससे इस वाले एटम के पास पॉजिटिव प्रोटॉन आएगा और ये क्या करेगा? इलेक्ट्रॉन गेन करेगा. और ये नेट चार्ज इसका इलेक्ट्रॉन नेगेटिव चार्ज होगा, क्योंकि नेट चार्ज मतलब ज्यादा, राइट, ज्यादा अमाउंट. So it will get negative charge. But when a substance loses this electron, but this substance loses this electron, it will give it to this one. Then it will have positive charge. Understood? It is extremely easy. Just try to understand the concept. अगर एक substance ने इलेक्ट्रॉन मांगा तो उसके पास ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा, और जिस substance ने उसको इलेक्ट्रॉन दिया उसके पास कम इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा, यानी ज्यादा प्रोटॉन होगा. Okay, so nothing is there, just a easy concept. So I erase this. Okay guys, behavior of electric charges. Electric charges are positive, negative. Okay, so like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. Same concept is in magnet. North repel, north-south attract. The same happens with charges. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract each other. Not to explain much. Okay. So next thing, when a glass rod, now here is one example given in your book. I mean, in ICC book, this example is given. Okay. When a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, rod acquires positive charge and the silk cloth gets negative charge. This is because of transfer of some free electrons from the glass to the silk cloth. Now I will also explain you with this with one hang with one. I'll explain you one by giving example. Okay, so look what it was saying. It was saying, where is it? Okay. It was saying when a glass rod is rubbed to a silk cloth. For example, this is the silk cloth and this is the glass rod. When the glass rod is rubbed on the silk cloth, the rod will acquire positive charge. Now, for example, this silk is having atoms in it. It is having positive, negative, neutral. The silk cloth is neutral. Neutral means in neutral, it is not like now charges existing. The charges are existing in balanced amount. As I told you, plus negative minus plus 10 minus 10 equals to 0 means neutral, like that. This is the neutral. The silk is neutral, having minus positive in a balanced amount. So what it is saying, when a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, the rod acquires positive charge. When this silk rod is rubbed, then this silk rod will get positive charges according to the thing. So here in silk, what will happen? Negative amount will be higher and positive will be decreased. And in this, what will happen? Positive will increase and negative will decrease, right? So when a glass rod is rubbed with a silk cloth, a rod acquires positive charges. This is because some free electrons from the glass rod to the silk cloth. Now, why this happened? We say I told you that protons do not move. That's why I told you, right? Protons do not move. But you'll see, but how protons will go away. What will happen when this rod will come nearer to the silk cloth? It will give its free electrons. इलेक्ट्रॉन्स ये इसको देगा, तो फिर इसमें इलेक्ट्रॉन्स के ज्यादा ये आएगा ना, क्या अमाउंट। अगर इसमें ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आया तो इसका नेट क्या होगा, नेट इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा, नेट क्वांटिटी इलेक्ट्रॉन की होगी। और इसने इलेक्ट्रॉन तो लूज कर दिया, तो इसके पास पॉजिटिव बचा और इसके पास नेगेटिव बचा। तो इस तरह से दिस ग्लास रॉड विल हैव पॉजिटिव मोर एंड नेगेटिव लेस। अगर इसने यह दिया, क्या दिया इसने, इलेक्ट्रॉन दिया, तो ये भी बदले में इलेक्ट्रॉन के बदले में इसको प्रोटॉन देगा। ओके, so this is not confusing at all. Okay, so now we'll move to our slide. Okay, there's a lot of, okay, okay, this is done. When an ebonite rod is, again one example is given, when an ebonite rod is rubbed with a fur, it acquires negative charge because fur के जो free electrons है, electrons क्या करेंगे, it will go to the ebonite rod, right? फर के पास फिर पॉजिटिव आ जाएगा हाई अमाउंट में, पॉजिटिव वो एबोनेट रॉड फर को पॉजिटिव इलेक्ट्रॉन नहीं देगा। अगर फर में इलेक्ट्रॉन नेगेटिव है, वो अगर कम हो रहा है तो ऑटोमेटिकली पॉजिटिव बढ़ जाएगा, राइट? So fur will get positive charge because of free electrons only. Free electrons from the fur went into ebonite. So it is also easy. Now I will search ebonite rod and yep. Ebonite rod. So this is the ebonite rod. It is like metallic type something. Okay. And it's heavy as well. So here you can see this is the ebonite rod in a silly metal. Oh, this ebonite rod. Okay, so look. Again, here one example is given. When you will rub it, then the positive charge will, sorry, it will lose negative charges and negative charge अगर use किया तो बस automatically positive charge ज्यादा बढ़े। Again, यहाँ पे one example is given like this. Okay. So, okay, there are various examples of this ebonite rod. Okay. A charged object attracts neutral object. This is important point. A charged object attracts neutral object. It is, we all know that the charged object attracts the neutral object. Electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is a type of force in which there's a transfer of opposite electrons. In 8th standard, in the chapter friction, we learned about electrostatic force. There are two forces, contact and non-contact. In contact, there is muscular force, frictional force, and conduction. But in, sorry, conduction is not that. Friction and muscular. We are talking about friction, okay? And in non-contact force, magnetic, electrostatic, gravitation, etc. So electrostatic force, we already learned it. But again, we will recall for sure again. So, electrostatic force, the force exerted by one charged object on another one. Force exerted by one charged object on another object. Conservation of charges. Now, how the charges are balanced in it. A charge, whether positive or negative charge, whether either positive, either negative. Okay, so a charge, either positive or negative on an object, is either due to gain of electron or lose of electrons. So, for example, there is one object and it's having charges positive and negative charge. Why? Because valency, because other metal, if it is good conductor, then it will gain the electrons. But if it is insulator, then it will not lose, is not lose also, not gain also. It will remain as it is. Okay. So there is no creation or destruction of charges. It is only a redistribution of charges. Redistribution means अगर उसने पॉजिटिव लिया, सॉरी, अगर पॉजिटिव तो नहीं ले सकता, अगर देयर आर टू ऑब्जेक्ट्स, अगर ऑब्जेक्ट वन ने उसके इलेक्ट्रॉन्स दिए तो उसके पास कौन से आ जाएंगे ऑटोमेटिकली? प्रोटॉन्स आ जाएंगे। आ जाएंगे नहीं, ऑलरेडी दे आर प्रेजेंट, बट the amount of proton will increase in it. So redistribution of charges given. Law of conservation of electric charge. Now law of conservation of electric charge. Electric charges, negative means opposite charges repel, sorry, opposite charges attract and same repel. It states that the sum of all electric charges in a system always constant. Okay. We learned that means there is no reduction or decrease. Both are just same only. Conductors. Conductors are the objects that allow flow of electron or flow of electric charges through them easily. Means this conductor are having enough valence charges because they can easily gain or lose it. But mostly conductors gain. Okay, they are good conductor of electricity. For example, metals and all, they are having enough valence charge. Most metal conduct electricity as they have enough free electrons, as I told you. Non-conductors are the substances that do not allow electric charges to flow through them. Non-conductors are the substances that do not allow any object, sorry, any electric charges to flow through it. Of course, they are having static number or static electricity. Means electricity do not flow in them only. So they are substances which do not allow electric charges to flow and which do not gain also. So they have no free electrons. For example, glass means negligible amount. Okay. For example, glass, ebonite, plastic, silver, thing. How an object is charged. Now, how an object is charged. An uncharged object is charged by following methods. As I told you, the uncharged object can be charged by various methods, and there are some methods. For example, charging by friction. So charging by friction. Friction is what we all know, like when we rub like this, friction, that touch, like, how can I explain now? A friction is nothing but एक दूसरे को घिसना. Friction, force of friction. When two objects are rubbed against each other, some of the free electrons get transferred from one to another, and this is by friction. When we walk, at that time also due to friction, the valence electrons get transferred. Okay, valence electron get transferred. Charging by conduction. Conduction, I told you, it is one method. Okay, so conduction. Charging by conduction. Uncharged objects can be charged by touching it with charged object. For example, there's one pen. Okay, for example, there's one pen like this, and I'm having one more pencil. Okay, there are one pen and pencil. When I will touch them, At the time, the free electrons will pass. The free electrons will pass through them. This is conduction, nothing else. Means both are having neutral amount of charges. When I will touch, then maybe pen or pencil, any one of them will lose their electron and one will gain positive and one will gain negative. The total charges on the charged object is equally distributed between the two objects in contact, but this usually don't happen. Okay, let it be. Okay, for example, here is I've drawn speaker. For example, this is an uncharged object. Uncharged object is what? It do not have all any atom. No, it is not like that. Uncharged means what exactly? It is having balanced number of electrons and protons in it. The positive, negative, balanced number, okay? Balanced number. So uncharged object, this is uncharged object. When I will take a positively charged rod, only positive, nothing else. Matlab, this rod has lost its electrons. It is only having positive. When I will check it towards this neutral thing, neutral ball, at that time, this what will happen? This what do you call this? This ball is having negative charges with it, but this is having only positive charges, as I told you. Then this will give its electrons to it. Okay. This ball will pass its electron to the rod. When it will pass electrons to the rod, what will happen? The ball will only have positive, but the rod will be neutral. Neutral. Okay, I'm not able to write with the mouse pointer. So the ball will be neutral. So this is one of the example of conduction. So this process is actually easy. Okay. Charging by induction. Induction is totally opposite of conduction. Okay, totally opposite. So charging by induction. Induction is the process in which an uncharged object is charged just by bringing a charged object close to it but not touching it. It means electrostatic force comes into the scene. It is the process in which an uncharged object is there and it is charged by bringing another object without touching it. Okay. So there is no direct flow of free electrons in it. There is indirect flow, or we can say non-contact flow. So the charges produced on the uncharged object are called induced charges. Okay. So for example, one example is there. Now this is an uncharged object. Uncharged object means what? Balanced number of electrons and protons. So it is having balanced number of electrons and protons. It is not like that they are separated. I've just drawn the second diagram. Means it is having what? Both positive, negative, randomly, anywhere. Okay, and anywhere it is having. Anywhere. Randomly. What will happen? For example, if I bring one rod near here, which is having only electrons in it, only electrons, then it will, what it will do? Opposite charges attract each other. But this is not touched to this rod, right? It is leaving distance between them. Therefore, what will happen is, when this rod will, when this rod is what we is striked against the object, then it will gain the electrons. It will gain electrons. When it will gain electrons, then it will be taken nearer to another object, then it will attract the opposite charge, because positive charge attract and negative charge means equal charge at repel, and negative charges or opposite charges attract. So this rod will attract the proton or positive charge. This rod will attract positive charge. Therefore, then this ball will lose its positive one. Sorry, it will not lose the positive one. This rod will lose the electrons and it will gain protons. So same happens with electrostatic force. I will explain you with electrostatic force what exactly happens. When comb is there, it is rubbed against the dry hairs. When it is rubbed against the dry hairs, for example, this is comb rubbed against the dry hairs, then what will happen? The electrons which are present in the comb will be passed on to the dry hair, or the electrons of dry hair will be passed on to the pen. When the pen will be when pen or when a comb, actually I'm saying pen because okay, when a comb will be taken nearer to the pieces of paper, then that this pen is having negative charges, then it will attract the positive charges of the paper. So this happens with the electrostatic. It is only about charges. Charging by conduction. So only this is the last slide. This is the part 1 of the video. I'll be coming with part 2 and part 3. In that part 2 and 3, we'll be learning more about electricity. This is just a simple, basic introduction. Okay. So, charging by conduction. Conduction. And uncharged and charging by conduction. Difference between conduction and induction. Difference between conduction and induction. So, conduction means what? Uncharged are charged. Objects, uncharged and charged objects are brought in contact with each other. Whether they are uncharged or charged, they are brought in contact with each other. Flow of electrons takes place. Charge acquired by the uncharged object is the same as that of charged object. Means what? Charged particles which are gained by the uncharged is the same as charge. Means there will be redistribution among the objects. The charge remains on the object even after originally charged body has been removed. Means the charge which is there on an object, they will not lose, okay? The object even after the original charge body has been removed, the charges will be same. Just read it once thoroughly. I'll freeze the screen. Okay. So just read the thoroughly. Charging by induction, uncharged and charged objects are both very nearer but not touched. Flow of electrons does not take place. Charge required by uncharged object is opposite to that. Means here, if this is positive, and if I'm having one more pen, and I'm having this pen, this for example finger, then it will attract positive only in conduction. But in induction, if it is having positive, then it will attract negative. Okay. So this is difference. The charge produced on an object is temporary unless the object is urgent. Means the charge is temporary. When the object will be knocked off to the another object, then what will happen? The charge will move on. It will lose the charges. Okay. So this was the difference between charging by conduction and induction. So, if you like the explanation of part 1 of atom, don't forget to subscribe my channel And if you want the notes of this chapters or of any chapter of science, ping me in the comment box. Thank you everyone.